What is going on, guys? It is Rio Santana at the JC Santana Rio Santana podcast. I know it's been a minute. I know. Half's on me. No. It's all on me. We had a lot going on from traveling, fighters. We got some dubs. We didn't get a dub, but everybody is happy and healthy. Dad had his total knee replacement. He's going to go a little bit onto that journey. I think tomorrow will mark 6 weeks. So we got a lot going on. I'm going to get right into it. We're going to switch up the podcast a little bit. I'm going to bring it back to kind of the IHP and JC roots, and shoot, my roots too as well too. Kind of the fitness side, but some new school stuff too. So as you guys know, I handle everything social media when it comes to IHP and JC. Yes, my dad gets on there a little bit, does his rants sometimes. But I know what's trending, especially in the fitness realm. So I wanted to send Dad a couple clips to get his input. So with no further ado, here he is. Let's go.
JC Santana coming back to you after knee replacement. We already told you all the things that we're going through, so you know where we're at. Okay, we're going to revive this thing a little bit, and we're going to go through everything. So first thing we're going to tackle is David Goggins and the Adesanya workout. Okay, and Rio, what exactly is the video that we're looking at here? All right, so this video came out. David Goggins taking Adesanya through the paces. And we see him running, we see him doing the stairs, and we see Adesanya vomiting and all that other good stuff, okay? So, what do you think of this, is the question that Rio asked me. And I'm gonna tell you what I think of it, but before I gotta tell you exactly, give you context, okay? Number one, I believe that men shouldn't be talking shit about men. Real men don't talk shit. Real men do. And real men have a resume. They don't have to boast. They don't have to shit. You can look them up and boom. David Goggins has a resume, okay? I don't know David Goggins. I'm not even too familiar with him. Of course, I am familiar with him, but I don't know his life story. I know that he's been through 3 special forces training. I know that he didn't have a great upbringing, and by his own accounts, basically he had a lot of demons to get through, okay? So I got nothing but respect for David Goggins, what he's done with his life, the fact that his template may work for some people, and if he's saved one young man, it is worth having David Goggins on this planet. And I'm sure that he saved more than one. So this is all respect to the man, David Goggins, and everything else, okay? So this is not in any way, shape, or form an attack on David Goggins. I agree with his spirit. I agree with his wanting to do good. I don't necessarily apply his methods, and I don't agree basically with the methods. And let's get through it, okay? Number one, we have to understand that David Goggins is a genetic freak. He's probably less than 1%. Why do we know this? Because how many people that are 50 years old that have ran 300 marathons, Guinness Book of World Records and all that, everything that David has done physically, you can't do that to too many people without crippling them. So the fact that David Goggins is still alive at 50, okay, and I pray to God that he has another 50 around the planet, okay, because I think the world's better with David Goggins in it. How about that for a compliment, okay? So we have to understand that. So for somebody to say, okay, I am going to take this approach, forget about duplicating what he does. This approach may not be wise because genetically you may not have the physiological capability of even doing 1/10 of David Goggins. So just from genetics and limitations, there you have context, all right? So the next thing is, all right, so let's look at the training. And I'm going, okay, is this good for MMA? Is this good for building character? Is this good for fitness? Is this good for health? And I was actually watching some David Goggins videos yesterday, and my wife was next to me, and she made some comments. And one of the comments that she made was, what's this guy running from? And now here's a woman who doesn't know nothing about fitness and has never known anything about David Goggins. Hearing him speak and and seeing what he does. And he goes, what is he running from? I said, baby, I don't know. So just a little context as to how that may come across to some people. So let's talk about principles that you cannot be denied. The set principle, specific adaptations to impose demands. That says that the closer you get to the thing in training, the better you get at the thing, or the larger the transfer of training to the thing. You want to be a pitcher. There's nothing better than pitching to be a pitcher. And you don't even need strength training, because heaven knows there's been a gazillion pitchers that have never done strength training. They're in the Hall of Fame. So if you go strength training at its finest and practicing the thing will always beat strength training. Now, if you add a little bit of strength training, will the thing improve? Probably. I would say yes. Okay. Now, so specific adaptation to impose demands. He's training Adesanya. Adesanya's throwing up. Okay, why? Because Adesanya's probably ran in the heat. He's dehydrated. He's put his body through something he's never put his body through before. Okay, with the implications that what it takes to survive that workout will translate to what's happening in the ring. Well, has Adesanya ever done that kind of training? No. Was Adesanya on the verge of being pound per pound, or the greatest guy in his weight class to be a champion? He was on the verge of that before he was beaten. Okay, so he was in the talks of being one of the greatest. How come? Because that workout that he did with David Goggins, which is brutal, has nothing to do with him being a better fighter, because of the said principle. So much goes into fighting that one aspect of getting your ass beat with something that's totally irrelevant to the thing can't possibly make you better at the thing. It's just not. I can develop my cardio like through the roof swimming. That's not going to make me a better marathon runner or a better soccer player because my VO2 went up. So you got to keep it principled. Specific adaptations to impose demands. And that occurs with everything. Take cold plunging, for example. Well, I'm cold plunging because of the discipline. Discipline? You know how many people cold plunge are still late to work, still don't do their assignments on time, still have shitty marriages, and still like fail at social IQ, at day-to-day living? No, all you're doing is increasing the adaptation to cold water, and you're not freaking out as much. Okay, great. All right, so same thing here. You can increase your ability to suffer. You can self-inflict suffering, but you cannot tell me that that will directly impact your discipline. For example, David Goggins says, why do I run? He says, because it's the thing that I hate the most. Okay, let's say, okay, so along with that vein, because you do something that you hate the most, does that mean you will do what you need to do in your marriage, in your relationships, at work, with your team? The answer is no. No. The answer is absolutely not. For example, let's say I hate to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, which I do. Okay? If I start waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, which I have, and start running, which I did, that didn't make me better at Florida Power and Light work. That didn't make me better, more responsible employee. That didn't make me a better husband. It just made me a more tolerant person at waking up at 4 o'clock and running with army boots 4 miles in the morning in preparation for my boxing training. Why? Because my coach said, do it, because he was of the mind. I said, why? Why can't I run when I get out of work? He goes, because if you wake up at 4 o'clock and run with your army boots on concrete and do that suffering, you'll do other things. I said, all right, great. But that was not true. That was not true, because there were other things that I should have been doing that I didn't do. But I did the 4 o'clock. Specific adaptations to impose demands. Just because you master suffering doesn't mean you become a better human being. You're just, some of the biggest psychopaths in the world are almost immune to suffering. And they're psychopaths. So no, I don't buy that for a minute. I don't buy that for a minute. If I had a special skill, I could control blood flow. What am I going to do? Cut my finger off so I can show it to you? All right, how many demonstrations like that do I have left? 9 more. Is that a way to prove it? Okay, so you have that. Now what? You have the genetic predisposition and the toughness to run 300 miles. I heard of a story a long time ago. David Goggins, he had run, I don't know, 3 marathons in one day or some crazy shit like that. And he was in the bathtub and he was peeing blood. And his wife, and I think I remember this accurately. I might be a little bit off. And if I'm totally off, I'm sorry, but I remember hearing this from David Goggins. And that his wife said, hey, let's go to the hospital. And his response was, nah, let me sit here and enjoy this. All right. So you have taken your kidneys to the point where they can't even get rid of toxins, and now they're bleeding because you did some crazy ass shit. And you want to risk getting proper medical care because you want to enjoy the fact that you were tough enough to not get medical care for some crazy ass shit that had nothing to do with anything that you did. I'm sorry, I love David Goggins, but I just don't understand that reasoning. And that's not the way I would teach a youngster that's trying to get his life together. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? No. What is it that you want? You want to be more responsible. You want to be inspired. Because you're 14, 15 years old. You don't know what you want to do. The last thing I'm going to ask you is for you to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start running half a mile and increase it by half a mile every week until you're running 12 miles. That would not be part of the homework. What would be part of the homework is an analysis of what do you love? What gets you excited? Social IQ. Increase psychological and social and community IQ so you can be good inside life and inside of your community, inside of your society, inside of yourself. It has nothing to do with inflicting self-punishment and learning how to deal with that. It has nothing to do with that. That's not inspiration. That's deterioration. You know, I was hearing yesterday, and when you hear different David Goggins videos, you hear different types of training. Yesterday, I had one video that says he does a minimum of 12 miles every morning. Every morning, minimum of 12 miles. And then he had just, he was recovering from knee operation. I wonder why, yada, yada, yada. And then we heard another one that he says, I run a minimum of 7. So don't know. In some, he says he does 2 hours of stretching and meditation every night. So if you put the time together of everything he does, he's spending what, 4, 5, 6 hours on his physical? And he said, the reason I do that is because I build my armor for life. Meaning, I run, I come back, I eat something small, and then I'm ready for getting hit in the mouth when I pick up that phone. Okay, what does that mean? You mean the challenges of life? You mean the things that you have to do? You mean the things that go wrong? The appointments that are canceled, the appointments that are made, the emergencies that come up, the email you weren't expecting. That, my friend, that's not a punch in the mouth. That's just life. So I don't see that as a punch in the mouth. I wake up, you know sometimes what I do? I wake up and before I even put my glasses on, I grab my phone if I beat it to the alarm, which is 90% of the time. And believe it or not, since I have my phone on silent, I scroll through my phone to make sure that my children and my family did not get a hold of me or didn't need me. Once I see there's no green and family, I don't have green from work and friends, no, greens from family. Okay, the family's good, then I put it down and then I go about my business. I don't want to run. I've already done that. Why? To get in shape for boxing. Why? Because I had a full-time job. And the only time that I could run was before my 7 o'clock flex schedule with FPL. I was in the office at 7. So I had to get up early and do my road work and then at 3:30 leave and hit Tropical Park next to Alexis Arguello and do my training there and get home at 6 and do, eat, bum, and do it all over again. So I know what it is to get up at 4 and do something for a reason, for a scheduling reason, but not because I see life, although it is sometimes very unhappy, sometimes very challenging. We all have our crosses to bear, and life is a series of ship bridges. It's hard bridges to an oasis of celebration, oasis of accomplishment. And then guess what? It's another bridge. It's not long series of happiness, everything's cool. No. It's when you win the title, when you win the thing, when you get your degree, when you get the job, when you get the girl, you celebrate, for a little bit. Sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's a month, and then you're okay, what's the next one? And then bam, hoist that cross on your shoulder and you go. So I don't do any self-inflicting punishment to be a better person. I write my books when I'm inspired to write my books. Okay? If I'm not inspired for 3 days, I'm going, what's going on, buddy? What's going on that you're not inspired? Like right now with the leg, I'm in pain every day. I'm doing painkillers and shit like that. Shit I don't like that I have to do in order to do my therapy and all that stuff. And we'll talk about that later. But I've written I'm working on my 19th book this way. I've had a business for 25 years. I've raised 4 children. I've been married 3 times if you count my high school sweetheart as a marriage. Okay? I'm still in touch with her and her husband. And my wife and I go on double dates with my first wife. So that's the kind of life, easy, chill life that I live. So I don't have to inflict pain in order to do the right thing. Okay? I analyze what is the right thing. What inspires me? Stay in line with what inspires you. Try to find what your calling is. It's hard to know your calling at 14. So my model to 14-year-olds wouldn't be start beating the shit out of yourself because if you can withstand that, you can withstand life. No, 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 no. Life is not that. Life is a series of things, and running 200 miles and inflicting punishment on yourself is not part of life. Trust me, life will deal you enough adversity, if you want to see that, enough punishment, if you want to use that word. You don't have to add more. You don't have to add more. You have to learn to overcome what life dishes you. And life doesn't dish you 12 miles. Life doesn't dish you 4 a.m. unless you have a job that you have to be at 6. I've never not gone to work. I've never stayed home and crying for a week or 2. Have I been sad? Yeah. Have I lost relationships? Yeah. Have I lost money? Yeah. Have I gone bankrupt? All that shit. All that shit. And I've taken the time to grieve with no time limit. I never, now to forget about this pain, I'm going to inflict other pain. That to me is not the right way to go. So at the end of the day, folks, you have to separate evolution from destruction. Voluntary evolution, inspirational evolution from adaptation because I'm beating the shit out of you, so you better evolve. You're evolving in the wrong direction. You're so overcompensating a weakness, and with all this shit, you've buried that thing that you're afraid of so far deep that I don't know if you can get to it. It's like a big bull running and going through a glass window, and you see the bleeding, and you see the bull, and you see the snarling. You go, holy shit, what a beast. And then you see what he's running from. It was a mouse. So that's all I'm saying. And I love David Goggins. God bless him. I hope he has a long, healthy life and he can continue to inspire. He and I just kind of disagree on the use of physical exertion to the point of damage and to the point of abuse in order to create something beautiful, which is a strong spirit, evolution, high social IQ, and internal inspiration. Okay? I don't need to be inspired by punishment. I need to be inspired by life. Just 2 different ways to look at it. 2 dudes that are doing well. 2 dudes that, as human beings, love each other. Okay, I don't know if he loves me or not, but I love what he's doing, bro. So it's all with love and respect. You guys figure out what is good for you and go in that direction. All right? So there it is.